everybody. Can you hear me? Okay, thank you. Okay, we're calling to order the Calistoga Unified School District regular meeting of the Board of Trustees on Monday, April 11 at 6:04 p.m. And okay, here it is. Sorry, we have a little change on the agenda, so I'm a little confused here. Bear with me. Please be advised that a recording might be made at the direction of the board and that the recording might capture images and sounds of those attending the meeting. Item 4.2, report on actions taken in closed session. The board discussed a contract with the new superintendent, including potential compensation. No action was taken, and direction was given to Board President Indira Lopez-Jones. Attendance roll call. President Lopez-Jones, here. Clerk Robert Allen.
Here.
Trustee Alcashan.
Here.
Trustee Maxfield.
Here.
Trustee Gonzalez. Student Representative Williams.
Here.
And if can invite all in attendance to join me for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
District mission statement. We are a collaborative, culturally rich educational community with a rigorous and innovative curriculum prepares our students to be successful contributors to our global society. Item 5.1, public business from the floor. This portion of the agenda allows an individual the opportunity to address the board on any item regarding board business that is not on the agenda. Without taking action or entering into a dialogue with the public, board members may briefly respond to statements made or ask clarifying questions about topics posed by the public. Your matter might be referred to administration, and individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Do we have any public comment from the floor? None? Okay, thank you. Item 6.1, recognitions. The Board of Trustees recognizes students, employees, or members of the community who have received recognition for academic or athletic achievement, or who have made significant contributions to any time to the district. The following individuals might be recognized. For this, I will invite Michael DeFrancesco to join us.
All right, good evening. It's great to see so many people here. I think it has something to do with this next agenda. We're going to recognize our classified employees of the year tonight. I think we all know that classified staff are the heart and soul of this district. We have classified staff working day shifts, working night shifts, working 12 months a year. They keep us on track, and they're invaluable to the district's success. And tonight we're going to recognize 4 staff members, but I think really our entire classified staff deserves recognition for their exemplary work. I've never worked in a district that had classified staff as skilled and as committed to their work as the one we have in Calistoga. So if you could, a round of applause for all classified staff. Also like to share that this year year we have, like with our certificated staff, we have a new format to our Employee of the Year process, and it allows us to recognize our staff here in Calistoga at a board meeting. Previous versions of this, our staff would go kind of directly down to Napa. They drive down to Napa and be recognized there, which is great, but to be able to recognize our staff here with our board, I think is a better way to do it, and so we get to do that here tonight. Being recognized as the Calistoga Employee of the Year in Food and Nutrition Services, also being recognized as the County Employee of the Year in this category is Ashley Bradford. Ashley's a lead cook, and Rosa Rubio is going to say a few words about her. Rosa, if you want to come up to the podium with Ashley and say a few words, and we'll get her certificate.
With Ashley? She's home. I can get her grades.
So, those of you that know Ashley knows that she always signs off her emails by teamwork makes the dream work. And that is definitely true in our food service department. Ashley is known to be one of the hardest workers in our department, and by hardworking, we mean rearranging the freezer all the time, scrubbing the drains to ensure that she has the cleanest kitchen in all of Napa County. The health inspector, she does not want to be dinged on everything. She also is very good at accommodating the diets and all of our students. If you have a gluten-free, a vegetarian, if you don't have dairy, cheese, she's always accommodating. She's always making sure that our students, our staff, and everybody is well fed. So Ashley, we will be celebrating at the county with you once again, and thank you for your hard work and the dedication and your commitment that you give to the food service department.
Let me get down here real quick. I just wanted to say thank you to just everyone, all my coworkers. I couldn't be half the employee I am without the support of everybody and everybody in the district and every department. It takes everyone. And I just really appreciate being here and just landed where I did when I did. So thank you all.
If you could just hang out for a bit, we're going to do a picture of the whole group here.
Okay.
All right. Recognized as the Employee of the Year in the Clerical and Administrative Services category is Marcela Rodriguez, who's the bilingual school site secretary for the junior senior high school. Marcy, if you want to come up with Raul, and I think Raul's got a few things to say.
The principal.
Well, it is my honor to recognize Marcela Rodriguez, and of course, I also, in recognizing her, I recognize, of course, like Michael has said, our classified staff, that is really our foundation for the work that we do, and we can't do the work that we do without them. But Marcy is definitely a special person. I've had the privilege of working with her the last few years. I call her Comadre Marcy, and when you use the term Comadre with people, it means family, right? And that's what Marcy is to the whole Calistoga community. She's part of the family. She's definitely a family member. She definitely supports everyone as a family. But a little bit about what she does. So as a bilingual site secretary, her primary responsibilities include site business services and making sure that we have substitutes and the coverage for that. And I'll tell you that that's been a challenge with the COVID-19 pandemic. Finding reliable subs has been a challenge. We've heard news in the paper and the news about districts not finding subs, but Marcy has been able to establish strong working relationships with our subs, and we really haven't had that much of a hardship here at our site. So, and that goes to, again, the work that Marcy does to establish those strong working relationships with our substitutes. And in the budget departments, our staff really relies on her to make sure that they keep up with the deadlines. In the words of one of our staff members that nominated Marcy, she mentioned No matter what is going on, Marcy keeps things incredibly organized and is patient with everyone. Even when we have had no subs, she is on top of getting classes covered every period, and she supplies the needs of every teacher, sub, student, and administrator. Her strong work ethic, her commitment to our community is really why I nominated Marcy for Employee of the Year. Thank you.
Like Ashley said, it's all one person, one team, so it's not just me, it's everybody, and I'm grateful to be in such a wonderful district. So thank you all.
Thank you.
And recognized as the Employee of the Year in the Paraprofessional category is Isabel Rodriguez from the elementary school. And her principal, Nicole, will say a few words about her. Isabel, if you're able to come on. Great.
I don't want to look. I'm like, I better get a good start here. So we, that's very nice. So we have had a good portion of having paraprofessionals at Calistoga Elementary School for many years. Our paraprofessionals are hardworking, they're dedicated, and they really know the pulse of the school. And so Mrs. Rodriguez is deserving of this honor because she is professional, she's detail-oriented, she's a lifelong learner, and she's open to new ideas. And Mrs. Rodriguez is currently in her 23rd year of service at Calistoga Elementary School. She's primarily worked with our second grade teachers, and comments that were made by teachers celebrate her professionalism, her attention to detail, and her efforts to actively collaborate with the team. And when I'm conducting walkthroughs and observations, I will often see Mrs. Rodriguez actively working with students at a table, working next to them, and helping them be able to access the curriculum. Whether it's in a small group or providing one-to-one assistance, she's dedicated to the academic success of all students. Ms. Rodriguez is a lifelong learner and approaches new challenges with an open mind and curiosity. And as a member of the classified negotiations team, she requested for more time to support professional development of our paraprofessionals. And we now include our paraprofessionals in training on restorative practices, technology integration, and social emotional learning. She comes to these training sessions with a positive attitude, and it goes a long way in encouraging other employees. As a yard supervisor, she has been helpful in supporting our Best Rules Rodeo, often donning a costume to go with that event. And she actively teaches her area of the playground, and fun is had by all. So Ms. Rodriguez is also a mentor and for other paraprofessionals and truly has a heart for others. And many mornings she will be in the staff room with other paraprofessionals playing music, decorating, and contributing to the overall health and wellness of our school. And the environment of the staff room is inviting, and having that shared movement of celebration goes a long way for staff starting the day. So for all of these reasons, we are truly honored at CES to be honoring Mrs. Rodriguez today.
I feel like I just won the beauty pageant or something, but I'm not really good at speaking in front of adults. I'm great at speaking in front of students, but thank you everyone. Thank you to my second grade team. I love you guys. I think that I can go for another 10 years or so, but I really love working at Calistoga Elementary School. It's awesome. I started working there when my youngest son was in second grade. He's now 30. And my oldest son is admiring all the new additional buildings here that he didn't get to enjoy when he was here and graduated in 2004. Anyway, I really, really enjoy working with kids. It's like the best, and every day is gratifying. Thank you very much.
And lastly, tonight, we're going to recognize our Employee of the Year in the Custodial and Maintenance Services category, which is Jacinto Gonzalez. Jacinto can't be here tonight, but I'd still like Chris to come up and say a few words.
So, for anybody that doesn't know, Jacinto has been here since 2007. In 2020, he took over as the day custodian at the elementary school. He's always excelled in his position. Since I've known him here, all I've gotten is excellent feedback from him. Anybody that knows him knows that he always does a great job with a smile. We were really fortunate to have him take over as a day custodian at the elementary school. Was right around the time we were coming back in personal learning, and his attention to detail and his work ethic were pivotal in making that a success for the district and for the school site. I know that in the time I've worked with him, he has a ton of knowledge. He's always willing to help. Anybody on the elementary school side can attest to the fact that even if he's in the middle of something, he'll drop everything to help you out. I wish he was here to receive this. I know that he'd appreciate it. Jacinto, you do an excellent job, and I know everybody here appreciates all they do. So I'll make sure he gets that.
All right, a few final pieces. We have certificates and plaques for everyone, but we're going to get those out to you later this week. Before you go home today, it would be great to take a group picture. So if you received an award or you were one of the supervisors, if you could come up, then I think we'll see how we can get arranged up here.
Make sure we get that little kid with his, the beautiful little kid with his t-shirt. Number one,
Action shot. Leo, turn around. Leo, look over here. Turn around. It's a bird. Good job. Thank you, babe.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, moving on to item 7.1, action items. The protocol for action items include a staff presentation, question from the board, public input, deliberation by the board, and voting by the board. During public input, there will be a 3-minute time limit per person. Item 7.2, employment agreement between the Calistoga Joint Unified School District and Dr. Audra Pittman for the position of superintendent. This item is to approve a new employment contract for the position of superintendent. The term of the contract is from July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2025. The compensation proposed to be awarded includes annual base salary $230,000, other salary items an additional $1,000 per year for possession of a doctorate degree, annual health and welfare benefits on the same terms and conditions as offered to other certificate administrators in the district, $10,200, monthly automobile allowance of $250, monthly cell phone stipend of $100, annual housing allowance of up to $20,000. The recommended action is to request to approve the employment agreement with Dr. Audra Pittman for the position of superintendent as presented.
I move that we approve a 3-year contract with Dr. Audra Pittman to be our full-time, 225-day per year superintendent for a $230,000 a year with the same health, dental, and vision benefits as other certificated administrative employees in the district. An additional $20,000 per year is available to her if Dr. Pittman lives full-time within the boundaries of the district.
Second. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And this is a roll call. President Lopez Jones, aye. Clerk Robert Allen.
Aye.
Trustee Alcashan.
Aye.
Trustee Maxfield.
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Aye.
Student Representative Williams.
Aye.
Thank you, and the motion passes. Thank you very much. And with that, we would like to welcome Dr. Pittman to our school district. We are very, very happy to have you here. And we invite you, if you want to say a couple of words and let us start to get to know you.
Thank you very much. I just want to say thank you. I am excited, I'm honored, and I'm blessed that you have decided to hire me as your next superintendent. I have some big shoes to fill, and I'm looking forward to every moment serving the students and the families within Calistoga and becoming a hopefully lifelong member of the Calistoga community. So thank you very much.
Welcome.
And Dr. Pittman, we have a few gifts for you since you're soon to become an official WELC.
Just a little bit of wildcat swag. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to item 7.3, resolution 21-2211, authorizing filling of applications for the California Preschool, Transitional Kindergarten, and Full Day Kindergarten Facility Grant Program for Calistoga Joint Unified School District. Maureen.
Good evening, everyone. This resolution allows the district to apply for facilities funding to OPSD.
Yes.
The application for TK Facilities Grant Funding is open from April 1st to April 30th, 2022. The next round of funding does not open until next April, so we want to get on this year if we can. King Consulting will be doing the applying of the funding for the district on the district's behalf. This funding could be an opportunity for the district to improve and modernize our kindergarten classrooms at the elementary site. We're eligible for funding of up to $1.745 million. Eligibility is limited to 4 PK classrooms and 4 TK classrooms and is based on historical enrollment averages of TK or historical enrollment averages of first, second, and third grade cohorts. This facility funding is great because it's a 75% state funded and a 25% district match funded program, which most programs are 60-40 or 50-50, so good funding there. This funding does not impact any future modernization funding for the district, so we're still eligible for all of our other modernization funding. And priority is given to districts with higher percentage of low-income students based on reduced meal counts, so that's also good news for our district. With these funds, the district can improve classrooms, restrooms, teacher work areas, play yards, and even parent drop-off areas if that is needed. And signing the resolution tonight does not obligate us to anything to do as the district. It only allows us to move forward to apply for the funding. So we're not obligated to take the funds, we're not obligated to accept the funds, but it does allow us to move forward with the funding.
Are there any questions or comments from the board?
I move that we approve resolution 21-2211.
Thank you all. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Yes.
Thank you. I love your enthusiasm.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's perfect.
I can't contain my excitement.
It is really good. Thank you. Okay, 7.4, agreement between the City of Calistoga and the Calistoga Unified School Districts for joint use of certain public facilities.
So Laura Steinman, who's the new city manager, began reviewing all the city's contracts when she was hired. So she actually deserves the credit for noticing that our joint use agreement expired last June. So we've continued to utilize one another's facilities, however, but we need to get, obviously, a current agreement. So I continue to appreciate our good working relationship that we have with the city, and I'm going to be meeting with Laura through the remainder of my term, and I'm also going to try to coordinate one of Dr. Pittman's visits so that she can join us and the three of us can meet. I think it would be a great transition as well. So I requested that you approve the agreement.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Just love the city.
Item 7.5, memorandum of understanding with Innovative Health Solutions to provide free physical activity opportunities for low-income residents in the city of Calistoga.
Okay, this is an MOU between Innovative Health Solutions to provide family movement starting on April 13th, yes, in 2 days, with the final class being held on May 18th. The classes are going to be held Wednesday evenings from 5:30 to 6:30 at the high school football field. Insurance certificates have been provided by HIS, so we're good to go there. And this is something that Rosa Rubio, our food service director, has been working on for some time. It fits very well with our district wellness policy, and it can provide families an opportunity to exercise, mingle, and have some fun at the same time. Rosa is also going to be there and present as the assistant coach of fitness to help Innovation Health Solutions as they go through the classes.
Sounds really exciting, so maybe we can join.
Is it open to any grade level, or is it?
And I think something's been sent out already through Fairness Square, yeah.
Okay, thank you. So I will entertain a motion for,
So moved.
thank you.
Second.
Thanks, Stephanie. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Item 7.6, ATG completion improvement grant.
This is a new state dollars through a grant which is focused on helping more students be A to G completers. It has special attention to supporting low-income students, English learners, and foster youth students. And this is our plan that we're presenting for approval. To get to this plan, we had input from our administrative team. We surveyed our staff to get their input, and then also surveyed neighboring districts to see what everyone else is doing with these new dollars. And I think we've got a good plan here that's got good action steps that supplement and build on top of the programs we have in place.
Okay, any questions or comments from the board? Yeah, okay, I will entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the efficient improvement plan.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. 7.7, California Community School Partnership Program Grant Application.
So Jenny Ocon from the Belly Family Center suggests that we apply for the CCSPP grant. The 4 features identified in the program align perfectly with our LCAP goals, and they would certainly benefit our students if we were awarded the funds. So the total grant is for around $500,000 per year for 5 years, so it's a significant amount of money. Jenny suggested that we utilize the services of grant writer Rebecca Bronze, and she is an experienced grant writer who has also worked with Valley Family Center in the past and been successful in the applications. So it was a very quick turnaround to meet the grant deadline. It took a team effort. So I want to thank Rebecca. Jenny did a lot of the work, Maureen, and I'm just grateful for everybody's work. So I'm recommending approval of it.
Any questions? So do we know when is when are we going to know?
End of May, we will know if the grant's approved. And this is only the first grant cycle, so we do have a shot at it if we don't get it this time.
Okay. Entertain a motion? Thank you,
Second.
I have to say that I have to abstain because my employer, Valley Family Centers. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all. 7.8, Measure A Bond Audit Report for 2020-2021.
Christie White and Associates performed our audit this year on our bond for the 2021 fiscal year. There were no audit findings, yay. The one thing we do need to work on as a district is something I bring up every year, since I think I've been here, is the Citizens Oversight Committee. We really need to get a committee formed, especially now that we are moving into construction projects and we're starting that planning process, and we really want to have a committee and be able to express to the community what's going on at the school district, right? So we are looking for 7 members still. We do have 1 application, so we need 6 more. And we have kind of revamped our website in the application process for anybody who's interested. So if anyone knows anyone who might be interested, it's very little time commitment and very little requirements to be on the committee. So shoot me an email if anybody can think of anybody who might be a good fit for the committee, please. But other than that, our bond audit went well. They take a testing and a sample of certain expenditures, make sure we followed all the Ed Code and California contract code procedures when we were doing our purchasing and contract bidding, and we obviously did well in all those areas, so no findings in the audit.
Can I ask you a question? So I know the community is really small in terms of people available to donate their time and things like that. We have, as members of the oversight committee, are we prevented from, asking them to serve again? Is that a pretty...
I don't know the answer to that. Dr. Pittman, do you know the answer if they can serve another term?
I think they can, I don't think they
Yeah.
can. I don't,
There's
I'm not
no
worried.
limitation.
Okay.
We have some.
There's a few,
Right.
yeah, we could try.
In these next couple months, if there's nobody hitting our website, I will be getting on the phone and asking Monica Garibay to help me with community members and getting in touch with people, because I think we do have a good group of people that we can reach out to that would be willing to do it. I don't think people really understand that it's really not that huge of a commitment. 2 meetings a year at the most, at the least. And so, hopefully in the next few months we can form a committee.
We have the solicitation on the website, and we did a little thing just kind of outlining what the time commitment is.
Yes, yes.
Can you provide more information about what the time commitment is?
We will have at the minimum 2 meetings a year, maybe an hour per meeting, and ultimately you're just going over what projects are going on at the time and the budget of those projects and how you're using the bond fund dollars to construct the projects. So very minimal commitment. But I think it's obviously an important community district relationship to have.
Jeff and I can continue to recruit at Rotary as well.
Please.
Thank you. So,
Great, so I move that we approve the Medway bond audit as finance.
Second.
thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you. 7.9, school health technician job description.
So we've talked about the need for support around health technician type work throughout this year. We've had a temporary employee to help us with COVID testing. This job description details the job duties of a school employee to do this type of work around COVID and other healthcare related issues on campus. So that's what you have here. This is not an RN or an LVN. This is a classified employee that would serve under an RN. And the intent would be for this to be placed on range 9 of the current classified salary schedule. We envision it as a 8-hour-a-day position.
Okay, any questions or comments? No? Okay, so anybody wants to make a motion?
I move that we approve the job description for the school health technician.
Second.
Thank you, Lily. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. 7.10, revised hourly salary schedule. Michael again?
Yeah, and we have a number of updates. This is our salary schedule. That's kind of the catch-all for kind of our payments that we need to make public. And there are multiple changes that we're presenting. The first is changing the academic tutor and avid tutor from $15 to $20 an hour. And then this is also, you'll see that language around this in the A to G grant proposal. So there's a connection between raising this and finding funding within that A to G grant. Let's see, what else do we have? We have a summer school principal stipend, which is kind of a clear and objective dollar amount. Previous to this, we had kind of an unusual percentage of someone's daily rate. And I think this gives us a much clearer identification of what we intend to pay a summer school principal for the work that it entails. And then lastly, the teacher induction mentor stipend. This is associated with another item tonight, which is, I think, in the consent agenda, which is our regular contract with Napa County Office of Education for support around teacher induction mentors that support new teachers. It's been at $1,500 now annually for a long time, and so they recommended that we increase it to $2,000. We support that. We're presenting it to you. We don't anticipate actually next year needing this service. We don't have new teachers that need induction, but should we next year or in the future, this would be the intent to pay this amount.
So moved.
Second.
Can we jump it over here? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. 7.11, board policies and administrative regulations.
So these are the same policies that were brought before the board at the last meeting. I've made no changes because I received no recommendations from the trustees.
I move that we adopt the board policies as presented.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to items A, information and discussion. 8.1, review and public input regarding the district's updated COVID-19 prevention program plan and safe return to in-person instruction plan.
So a condition of receiving our ESSER 3 Safe Return to School funds is that districts must review their COVID-19 prevention plan every 6 months and then make revisions if necessary. So North Bay provided the original template for the CPP, and their attorney revised it just a few weeks ago, and it reflects the most recent CDPH guidelines for COVID-19. Michael then inserted all the information that's specific to our district. This document will be brought back to the board every 6 months, so again in October. And I'm just wondering if there's any public comment on the CPP. So it will also be revised on the district website. We'll get that up in the next couple of days. Any questions from the trustees? Okay, I'm asking that it be approved as presented.
Second.
Do we have to?
Oh, I'm sorry, so just information.
We used to actually be
I know, we've totally changed the agenda.
We were paying attention.
I was not.
Okay, moving on to 8.2, new money bonds, actual cost of issuance by Erin.
Actually, this is Maureen.
Maureen.
So as you know, we sold $10 million in our remaining 2010 bonds, and the sale closed on the 23rd of March. Ed Code 15146 requires the board to be presented with the actual cost of issuance information for new money bonds at the next publicly scheduled meeting after the sale closes. So of course, that's tonight. The cost information also need to be disclosed to the public. We're doing that as well tonight. The $10 million bond sale was completed on March 23rd, 2022. Estimated cost of the February 7th, 2022 board meeting was $177,172. Actual cost of issuance on the bond totaled $162,941.30. So actual cost came under budget by $14,230.70, which is good. There's a couple other costs associated with the bond sale, and that is we have to pay a paying agent annually to hold our funds and take care of those funds, and we pay US Bank to do that at $2,800. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. In addition, we have to pay some printing costs and publication costs of $700. So those are all the disclosed costs on the $10 million sale. I did check with the county today. Those funds are ready to post into our budget, so we already have them, and we're ready to spend the money.
Thank you. Any questions? 8.3, Safe Routes, Napa County, walk audit reports. Erin?
This was a very comprehensive study that was done by the Safe Routes to School Committee. They did a study for both of the school sites, and as you probably saw in your work packet, I think they're 56 pages apiece. So they have lots of recommendations in them. They've already been recognized, and they are in the process of trying to implement some of the recommendations at the ATAC committee, the city's active transportation committee. So right now they're focusing on the crossings on Berry Street on both Washington and Cedar. Worried a little bit about just increased and improved signage for our kids who are walking there. So they have not yet come to agreement on what the recommendation is going to be or the solution, but hopefully that will be done at the next meeting, and I'll inform the board what their recommendation is as well.
It's just the signage, it's nothing else. In that corner is just so awful. It floods, just a little rain. Kids have to walk in the town. They're kind of very irritating. It's like really, I walk that intersection every day. It's terrible.
So I can certainly share that with them at their next meeting. I'd be glad to do that.
It never rains again.
Well, yeah, no, but I mean, even if it's just a little rain, it's like almost all four corners, it's flooded. And it's like little kids then have to walk through the puddles. I can run water that. Anyways.
So this is their opportunity to make some of those changes. The city is going to be doing some work on Cedar Street, so now's the time to bring that up.
Okay.
Thank you.
8.4, correspondence from Napa County Office of Education regarding review of second interim financial report.
Okay, Ed Code Section 42127 requires the County Office of Education to review all interim reports along with the state budget adoption reports and report back to the district their findings of their review. NCOE has conducted their review of our second interim report, and based on the review and analysis, they are satisfied with the second interim report approved by the governing board at last month's board meeting. And we do meet the requirements of Ed Code Section 42131, and therefore we remain positively certified. Of course, they do have a couple of concerns that they wrote down in the letter to us. They are aware of the district's projected deficit spending and our multi-year projections due to the lack of income of property tax revenue and encourage us as a district to eliminate deficit spending in order to maintain our reserves. They also remind us to increase our reserve for economic uncertainty to maintain cash flow needs through the year. Both of these things are very important to us as a district as well, especially in these times when we're not seeing the revenue increases in property taxes that we have seen in the past. Just wanted to say that I appreciate the feedback from NCOE and look forward to working with them in future budget reporting periods.
Thank you. 8.5, Board Policies and Administrative Regulations, first reading meeting, April 11, 2022. Amen.
So I'm bringing forward these policies directly as they are written by CSBA. I have not altered them at all. So this is your opportunity as a board. If you have any suggestions for me, I'd be happy to incorporate them.
Thank you.
I did, yeah. They're all legal recommendations. There's no specific options that we need to change in the policy.
Okay, moving on to reports. 9.1, Calisto Elementary School Principal. Amen.
Good evening, everyone. Much of what I'm going to be speaking to tonight is that last week we had our student academic awards. Typically what happens is that when the trimester ends, at the end of the month, we honor all of our students. Just to let you know a little bit about the process is that currently right now we are having all of our academic awards assemblies outside. We do it by grade level, and we also have been able to include inviting parents in the process. And so when we did start this planning for our academic awards, we were still under some restrictions of having parents be able to RSVP. And so it does take quite a bit of organizing, and so that's why it's falling into many of our LCAP goals this evening. So for LCAP goal number 1, as I said last Thursday and Friday, we had our academic awards assemblies for trimester 2. During this time of year, we expect more students to be honored. And this year we had record numbers of 4th through 6th grade students in honor roll, and students were enthusiastic and supportive of their grade level academic progress. During the release days in February, teachers shared an interest in pursuing Freckle ELA and mathematics training. Freckle is an online application which uses map results to target standards and skills of need. And there will be a professional development in April to support teachers in using this application. And then finally for LCAP goal number 1, we are embarking on our 3rd and final release day for grade levels and programs. And the purpose of this release day is to prepare for CASP testing, to do a deep data dive into our map data, and to review potential schedule changes for the 2022-2023 school year. For LCAP goal number 2, providing a safe and healthy and positive school environment, we did conducting the grade level academic awards is a shared effort and requires support from our maintenance and operations staff. So I want to give a shout out to Chris for all of your support, because we have to put the grade level chairs out there. We have to keep them out there overnight, dry them off the next day for those early morning assemblies. And getting that setup and breakdown is really appreciated. And then finally for LCAP goal number 3, we had during these awards assemblies, and remember, because we are doing it by each grade level, we are having to start in the morning, which sometimes is not the most convenient time. We know that for our parents. However, we had about 20 parents attend each grade level assembly, which was exciting. And we are doing them out on Berryfield, so it's very, many parents will go, oh, I have time, so they'll pull over and come in to be able to watch the assemblies. And so the students were happy to see their families there, and one thing that was Now, I ended up hosting the grade 4 through 6 awards, and so we were able to give time and in that environment where families could take pictures with the students holding their awards, and then ultimately the students, you know, as the, okay, I'm gonna go back to class, they would hand the awards so they wouldn't get bent in the backpack and then head back to class. So that is my report for this evening.
I was going to say that I saw the maintenance staff putting those chairs out, and I had to tell you, we need to get rid of those chairs. They are so heavy and so difficult to, you know, to drag around, so I really feel sorry for them. So, but the turnout from the parents was just amazing to see all the parents waiting there and sitting down, you know. It was cold. It was a cold morning, and they were there, and they were so excited to see their children. So thank you. Thank you all.
Yeah, I was just going to add, I went to the first grade ceremony, and it was the first time since, last year we were on COVID part of my family, and it was really exciting, and I appreciated the work that everyone did putting that together. It was so fun to see the kids.
I'm wondering what you think after jamming into the small MP room for 8 years while I was there. Did you find that was a better situation because it was just like...
It used to be pretty full in there, and I have to say that as, you know, I think we're going to always be reevaluating how we do things, but I think given the enormity of last year and just getting that first assembly going for the students grade by grade, I think that transitioning to all outdoor, keeping it grade by grade this year would be appreciated by the students. Their enthusiasm just for their grade level and their attention is just much higher than it used to be if you were the 6th grader wedged at the back of the auditorium, and then usually by the spring, the 6th graders would be like, why are we sitting on the floor? We're going to be 7th graders next year. So it was kind of always this kind of give and take that happened at the assemblies. So
having an audible probably attested it was a lot of shh, shh, right?
Their 2nd grade actually has the system of the quiet coyote, so they quiet down very quickly. But yeah, it has worked out, but you know, I think we're gonna always have to reevaluate because it is a lot of work to get those assemblies going, and just keeping all that, you know, as you said, the furniture out there, and then having to account for drying it in the morning if you get a lot of dew. And
Thank you. Calistoga Junior Senior High School Principal, Mr. Rivera.
Good evening, everyone. For my report tonight, just spring is a busy time of year. Believe it or not, we only have 8 more weeks left of the school year. So it's busy that not only are we engaged in our regular work, but we also start planning for our next year. Students have submitted their course selections for next year, so soon we'll be building our master's schedule. Our seniors continue to receive school acceptance letters, as evident from the growing list of names on the college acceptance board that Carla has outside her office in the College and Career Center area. Acceptances so far include many UC, state, and out-of-state universities. Just to give you a little percentage here, 29% of our seniors have received acceptances through UC school. So that's pretty impressive. We have 2 that have been accepted to Berkeley. 1 is in the waiting for Berkeley still. And Berkeley received over 128,000 applicants. So 2 from Calistoga have been accepted, 1's on the wait list. Same with UC Davis, we have 9 acceptances so far. And UC Davis had 110,000 applicants. So Calistoga is doing a great job here and really supporting our students to go beyond. In regards to OCAPCO number 2, providing a safe, healthy, and positive school environment, we had our first junior high dance in 2 years, this last Friday before we went on break. And although the students were a bit nervous, and we had one even having hyperventilating, but it was something new for them. They had never participated in a junior high dance. But soon it became very comfortable, and The students were able to dance the night away on that Friday. There was excellent student participation, and all students really seemed to be having a great time. For high school students, prom is just around the corner. Tickets are on sale now. This year's prom will be held at Santa Rosa Golf and Country Club on Saturday, May 14th. And then also this week we have the Every 15-Minute program. Every 15 Minutes is a 2-day program focusing on high school students which challenges them to think about drinking, personal safety, and the responsibility of making mature decisions when lives are involved. So the program's name was conceived from the very real fact that every 15 minutes, someone in the United States dies in an alcohol-related traffic accident. We are looking forward to bringing this powerful program to our students here the latter part of this week. And hopefully we won't be rained on that day. In regards to OCAP goal number 3, increase parent engagement and enhanced communication. Last month I hosted a dessert with the principal, which was just a little change from the coffee with the principal that I host in the mornings every month. This was just something different to try and hopefully get more parents to come out. Unfortunately, I didn't get the outcome that I was hoping for, but I was a little disappointed, but I'm also confident that continuing to look at various ways to attract our parents to these opportunities will continue to increase our parent engagement. And then our open house was the week before spring break, and I thought that was a big success. We had a great turnout, and having the event outdoors created really a wonderful kind of street fair atmosphere. The band boosters sold pizza, Project Red sold dessert, and our school band played some musical selections, and the different departments displayed the student work. And we also had a few classrooms open where parents were able to go into the science classroom and to the art classroom as well. And overall, the feedback has been very positive so far. And that's my report for this month. Thank you.
Any questions for, comments for Raul? No? Okay, thank you. Moving on, student representative, Shanna.
All right. So as spring's beginning, students are so much more united and feeling more like a community than ever before. We had a rally last month to celebrate the new season, and it had some of the most student involvement, I think, all school year. Students are also joining clubs like the school newspaper and making time here at Costa de Junior High School a little more enjoyable. But as spring progresses and the school year comes to an end, the campus becomes a more stressful place as well. Students, especially upperclassmen, are stressed with their AP exams and the SATs, even though they're not required in their schools. Similarly, our seniors are stressed, which usually their next class after high school. With the goal to make this campus feel a little less stressful, the ASP classes have been taking prom to a whole other level. With a raffle a couple weeks ago that gave a student a $50 gift card to a local bakery, which is a pretty popular place, and a free ticket to dance. Since it's a Saturday after AP testing, and a week after the May SAT date, we are hoping for it to be an event to make students calmer and to give a light at the end of the tunnel to give students more motivation in a time of need. We were also hoping that we could plan a rally the day before prom to relieve our students of stress and anxiety post-exams, and to get students excited for our great celebration. Our overall goal is to make our students feel united and tranquil once the academic tests are over. Our junior high just had their first dance of the school year on the 1st of April, and they're excited to have regular junior high activities. The 8th grade class in particular are joyful for the new school year and being in high school pretty soon. The dance is starting to symbolize the new beginning of their high school careers and the ending of middle school. But of course, with COVID, many traditional activities designed for student involvement in the junior high classes were canceled. So having a school dance is a momentous occasion to people of all grade levels, and it means a lot to our students.
Thank you. Director of the Educational Services and Human Resources.
Okay, I'm going to start with a COVID update. There may be a day when I don't have to give a COVID update. I don't think we're there quite yet. I do think we can say that the Omicron surge has passed. We went from 4 to 5 cases a month for most of the year, and then we jumped up to 200 positive cases in January, but then down to 70 cases in February, and then in March we dropped down to 6. So it's like we've reached back to that 4 to 6 baseline, right? So that's a good sign. We were able to send home test kits with students and staff to use prior to returning from spring break, similar to how we did before winter break, and I think it's just a great strategy for catching those positive cases before they return. So if someone's positive, they never step foot on campus. We had a lot of cases after winter break. This time, so far as I can tell, we have about 3 positive cases that were identified today of students or staff who became positive over the break. Those students then didn't return to school, and then they won't until their required time period is passed. We had a recent update from California Department of Public Health, Cal-OSHA, which took effect last Wednesday. And essentially what it does is it removes the quarantine. So if you have close contact or exposure to someone and you're asymptomatic, you no longer need to quarantine. You can be at school as long as you're asymptomatic and as long as you're checking their symptoms. There's a recommendation to test, and we have testing for those students who've given consent. This is a pretty big shift to normalizing the way that we deal with COVID in schools. And then also combined with that is just you shift really to what's called group contact tracing. So instead of when you have a positive case going through an investigative process to determine who was within 6 feet for 15 minutes or more, which is something our site administrators are very experienced with and spent a ton of time on over the last 2 years doing. That's not really an expectation anymore. It's group contact tracing, which means if someone's positive, you just treat the whole group as potentially exposed. The classroom or sports team or whatever it is, you send that group the required notification, and then those students are recommended that those students test. We have testing available again for those students who have consented. So it's this normalization, and I hope we continue to see that. Schools have really become kind of we've carried the load in a lot of ways of COVID procedures, right, versus other agencies. We've carried those processes, all of us. And so to see it normalized so that we can spend more time on educating students would be a good thing. Provide an update on Universal TK. We talked a little bit about that tonight. We haven't talked a lot about Universal TK, but it's an important topic, and just to give a little bit of an intro to it. California is moving to a place where all 4-year-olds attend preschool or school in TK. So it's TK for 4-year-olds. To get us there, it's going to be a slow rollout. That rollout will happen over 4 years, and then by 2025-26, we'll be there. So next year, for example, students whose 5th birthday falls between September 2nd and February 2nd become eligible. It's this first group. And the next year, they move that from February 2nd a little further down to, say, April 2nd. And the rationale makes sense. It's clear. We know that early intervention, early education, it improves outcomes greatly, and it certainly addresses and minimizes the achievement gap to provide education to all students at an early age. I think what is a little bit unfortunate for Calistoga is that the funding for Universal TK is for most districts, LCFF districts, but the state, for whatever reason, has decided that additional funding will not be provided to community funding for school districts like us. So we'll have to figure out how to fund any additional costs unless the state changes their tune on that. But right now we're in the planning phases. We've been working for quite a while to understand the TK requirement. And then we're in the planning phase right now of how many students we think we might have and what that will mean for us with regard to potential staffing and program. But we will be moving forward with an expansion of TK to this first phase of 4-year-olds. And then lastly, summer program update. We continue to meet monthly with our summer program planning team. It's a good team. It's got classified staff, certificated staff, management staff. We meet monthly. And I think we're in a lot better shape. I think last year we launched this huge program, and we did it, but it was really stressful. I think we're much better shape with early planning this year. We surveyed staff on their availability, which is a big driving factor in determining when we can offer the program, because we have to staff it. If we're going to offer a big program, we got to staff it. And based on staff interest and availability, summer school will take place from June 20th to July 15th. This is a 4-week program. There'll be no school on July 4th, so that makes for 19 days. Last year we had almost 50% of our students attend, so we'll see what it's going to be like this year. We're definitely going to open it up to any student. We'll have our recommended students that we really urge to attend, but then any student can join. And we'll see. I don't know that we'll get to 50% like we did last year. We'll see. But we're going to try to anticipate that when it comes to curriculum purchasing and staffing and all the rest of it. Enrollment information was sent out today. It's a May 6th deadline. It's important, really important that families meet that deadline. It really is important to help us with our staffing. It's hard to, to expand and hire more teachers afterwards once we've set our staffing. So we really try to stress that, and we'll send out that registration information multiple times to parents, stressing that date. It's important that we register on time. We're going to need a lot of staff. Looks like right now we maybe have just under half of the positions filled with our internal staff, which means we're going to do a lot of external hiring, which is okay. I'm in the process this week of reaching out to all our staff just to confirm their status for summer, so we know how many outside folks we need to hire. But we do have a lot of good teachers that we hired in the past that have responded to our job postings. I want to come back and mention us again. Then we have our list of trusted subs who I think can potentially help us out as well. But I think it's going to be a great program. It's going to be a big program again. It's going to be a program that's not just academic remediation in nature, right? It's going to be something that hopefully is fun and engaging for kids, and it's doing some teaching and learning around academics, but it's also doing some things around social emotional learning. That's my report.
So question for you. Remind me, what is happening with AIM-High?
Yeah. So we've been talking with AIM-High. AIM-High has a lot of internal change right now in their leadership, and so they're kind of shifting around and trying to make sure they understand who they are and who they can serve. And so we've had a continued dialogue and relationship with them, which is good. But I think at this point, they're not going to be able to serve us directly this year with their staff. So their staff will be coming to Calistoga to facilitate that program. But I think we can still have a good partnership with them. And so we are working with them right now to implement their curriculum, so their lessons that they teach, and have our staff have access to their professional development. So it's kind of like us facilitating their program with our own staff. But having our staff, it'd be great if our staff can participate in their professional development to learn about kind of the AIM-High way of doing things, the cultural piece of what AIM-High is all about. So that's what we're doing. We'll have elements of AIM-High, but it will be with our own staff this year, and then we'll continue to have that dialogue. We have a good relationship with them. I think there's the potential that they could be more involved in future years, but this year it's going to be kind of middle ground. Yep.
Any questions? Michael? All right. Director of Business Services, Maureen.
Okay, I just have one quick update to give the board tonight in technology. And as you may recall, we have two separate internet connections that connect our district to the outside world. One is at CES, and it runs the whole district. And then we have another connection at Palisades, and Palisades kind of sits there out there all by itself with its own connection. So we pay for two Comcast contracts, one for CES and one for Palisades. It also requires us to have two separate firewalls, one at Palisades, one at CES, and then we have to maintain and support the firewalls as well. So Larry has been working on a wireless bridge to bridge Palisades from our main connection at CES, and then to connect Palisades into our network. So we've successfully installed the bridge. Now we're testing it and testing the connections and the speed this week. If all goes well, we should be able to cancel one of our Comcast contracts, and we should be able to move Palisades into our district area network, all through one Comcast contract, and probably save the district about $3,500 to $3,000 a year. And we will no longer have to support two firewalls, we just have to support one. So this is a good thing because if you know about technology, taking care of two separate firewalls and letting things in and out of the district with traffic is sometimes difficult. So, and it'll save us money, so it's a good thing. And that's actually all I have for you tonight.
Thank you. Director of Facilities, Maintenance and Operations. Chris.
All right, so we'll start with the summer projects. Last update I gave you, we were thinking we were going to have to put up a shade structure that wasn't an exact match as the old one, but Fortunately, Ray with Van Pelt was able to find that specific model from the manufacturer. They still sell it. It's still a PC structure, so it's got a partial approval through DSA already, so it's a plus. We expect to have the vote for that to all of you at the May board meeting. The black box drama room conversion to a classroom, as well as the art docent at the elementary school. We walked with the contractor a couple weeks ago. We expect to have a quote this month, so we hope to have that to you by May as well. Parking lot and parking lot repairs at both sites, patching, repairing, sealing, striping. We're going to be sending out a request for quote for that as well, but right now we're just updating our front-end documents, just a lot of the different disclaimers and requirements of the contractor, so we're just making sure we got the most up-to-date documents to send out for that request for quote. The water line at the elementary school that we've had troubles with at the beginning of the school year, we would like to get that replaced. I don't have any as-bills that are accurate enough to really determine where that pipe lies. So we had a company come out called F3, they traced that line. Now that we kind of have an idea of where it is, we'll put a request for quotes on that as well. Hope to have that to you in May. IT upgrades and cabling. AMS is the company that we're going to use to help us with that. I don't remember what AMS stands for, maybe. No? Anyway. Unfortunately, the only thing we will likely be able to get done on that project is the cabling upgrades that we want to do to the sites. I guess the IDF equipment switches are running about 10 months out, and that doesn't seem like it's going to change in time for the summer projects. As for a bigger future project, the kindergarten playground, an outdoor learning area, as well as the area that's behind classrooms 20 through 22, we're going to try to use that space as well as learning environment. The request for proposal to the 2 architects, landscaping architects that are in our pool, that went out today. There's a walk in the middle of the month. There's a deadline for their questions, and then that closes on April 28th, so we should also be bringing a contract for a landscaping architect for that particular project. One thing that came up on that project, we want to get rid of the book room, but we weren't sure how we were going to make up for that loss of storage. Something unfortunate, but maybe it's a good thing, came up that the PE classroom right now, that portable there, is approved by DSA, but as a child care facility, not necessarily a classroom. We don't have the actual documents or when it was installed. Without those, the process to go through DSA again with that would be quite time consuming, and we may not even get it there. So what we were proposing is bringing in a portable and placing it kind of by the New Street structure along the riverbank there, where the playground is. Take up a little bit of grass area, but it would still keep them out where you're generally doing PE anyway. But one bonus to that is then the current PE classroom doesn't need to get demoed. You just can't have students as a classroom. So then, since we're getting rid of the book room, now we've got this big portable that the site can use to really get kind of handle on their organization. Their books are really hard to manage in the small room they're in right now. So I kind of see it as a positive, pretty cool coming out of that. But we haven't set specifically where that is going to go. The idea is that we would put it back there because it wouldn't really bother the neighbors. It would still be in the back. Utilities shouldn't be too hard to get to. That's the only thing I have right now. Anybody have any questions? Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's going to definitely be good.
Thank you. Superintendent.
First, I want to officially welcome Cynthia Cortez, who is filling in for Paula during Paula's maternity leave. So today is her first official day on the job. And she's probably a familiar face to many of you since she graduated from the district and also from UC Davis. And she's been doing a great job on her first day. So as you know, she supports not only myself, but also the Board of Trustees. Under LCAP goal number 1, I learned at last month's Napa Valley Adult Education Board meeting that the county office entered into an articulation agreement with Mount Diablo College. So students enrolled in our CTE construction course will now get college credit for that. great news. More good news under LCAP goal number 2, the county office is currently applying for 2 different mental health grants, one of which would provide $25,000 a year for 4 years. And then another would bring an additional $17,000 a year for 2 years to support mental health services for our students. So we had made significant progress since the beginning of the year on reducing the wait list for our students who are in need of counseling. But I met with Michelle Craig Morales a couple of weeks ago, and she shared that unfortunately we've had a recent rise in students who need services. So despite the addition of another full day of services for the remainder of this year through Mentis, we currently have nearly 30 kids on the wait list district-wide. So we've been working with Marcella, who took Zach's place, on how to reduce that load. And Michelle is obviously involved in those decisions as well. Then under LCAP goal number 3, I'm a little disappointed that the staff and parent participation rate on our LCAP survey has been lower than it has in the past 5 years. Alex Andrew created a paper copy of the survey, and we're going to be sending that home in hopes that that will draw some participation from those parents who feel uncomfortable using the online format. So that will go home this week. We also are going to be surveying our students beginning this week as well. Then after getting input from our PK parent leadership team, we're going to be offering a new family engagement series this year, and it's going to be focusing on social emotional learning. The online classes begin soon. They're on April 19th, and they're going to be held every Tuesday at 6 o'clock p.m. through the month of May. PK team felt that the course content is going to reinforce our SEL curriculum we adopted this year, and is also going to provide tools for families to use at home to help their child's social emotional development. And then I'm trying to keep my report short again. It's been a long night, but I just want to thank the board. I am so grateful for the time that you dedicated to selecting who I think is a very qualified candidate to lead the district forward at the end of my tenure. So Dr. Pittman and I have already arranged, I think, 4 days, transition days, and I'm really looking forward to meeting with her, introducing her to the Wildcat family and then to the entire community. So welcome again. And we have her contract, but at the end of the meeting, we're going to sign, and we'd like to take a photo of the board and Dr. Pittman so we can submit it to the local paper. And that's my report.
Welcome again. And one thing that I failed to say is to thank Scott Mahoney for his help. He left, and I feel really bad that we were not able to say, thank you for all of his assistance last time around and now this time. I want to acknowledge his, all the hours that he put in the search for the best candidate that we could find. So,
Here.
yeah. So, thank you. If anybody see him, please say that.
I'll convey the message.
Thank you. Moving on to consent agenda. The actions proposed for the consent agenda are deemed routine in nature and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless any member of the board, the audience, or staff requests specific items to be removed from the consent agenda for separate action. So, any changes or discussion about the consent agenda?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item 11 is closing items. We have 11.1, the board meeting calendar. So we're meeting on Monday, May 9, Monday, June 13, and June 20th. That month will be, we're going to be meeting twice. So we started 5 p.m. for closed session and 6 p.m. for open session. 11.2, the tentative future agenda items, developer fees, justification study, and the LCAP survey results. There is no need to reconvene to closed session. And ready for your favorite.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.